Council work session. I call the City Council work session to order on Tuesday, July 11th. Mr. Reese, roll call, please.
Councilmember Correll,
Here.
Councilmember Fockingham,
Here.
Councilmember Garcia,
Here.
Councilmember Homa.
Here.
Mayor Knapper,
Here.
Councilmember Maddox,
Here.
Councilmember Page.
Here.
Mayor Knapper, we have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll skip item number 3. Item number 4, City Council retreat. I just wanted to talk with you all to make sure that you're still available. I believe it's, what is it, July 30th? I think we were talking about, we floated a Sunday. Okay, so are you all still available on that day? We would have the retreat at the library, and I think it would probably be like, I don't know, it's not going to be that long. I was thinking initially like 9 to 3, but it may be like, I don't know, like 11, it could be 11 to 2, just depending on what we want to talk about on the agenda. So first, let me make sure that you all are available on that day. Good? I got fit. Okay. 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 Everybody else good? Okay. Krista, would it be helpful if we started at like 11? Okay. All right. The next thing that I wanted to ask you all about is like, what would you like to have on the agenda? Right now, I'd like to have a discussion of resolutions and some specific resolutions. But then also, I want to make sure that for our new council members, you have as much of a sure footing, or you feel like you're kind of more confident, you're stable and on steady ground regarding like your on-bringing. So if you have like any questions, if you still have any questions or anything, you don't have to be new. If you have questions and you're our historian, like our deputy mayor, then, you know, we can talk about those too. So.
I think we could spend a little time just revisiting the strategic plan or whatever we're calling it. Because we talked about when we developed it, to sort of having it be a living document and drive our priorities. So it's felt really brilliant when we made it. So I think we should look at it again.
Okay. Anything else, y'all? Councilmember Maddox, any burning questions that you've had?
I'd like to get a better working relationship with the city alderperson who borders my portion of Maplewood, my ward of Maplewood right there. There's been a lot of crime and things lately, and I think having a better working relationship with that alderperson would be a benefit to both the city and Maplewood.
So we can talk about how to form relationships and partnerships throughout the St. Louis region, because I've done that. So we can do that. I'll put that. Okay. Okay. All right. If there's anything else, then don't just shoot me an email and we'll get that going. But if not, then yeah, that's just pretty much what we're looking at. Oh, you know what? Let me also add to this. So what I'm going to put on our agenda for discussion will be the partnership that the city has with the University of Madison or University of Wisconsin in Madison. So I was at a event for the Mayor Innovation Project, and I was there as a mentor mayor. And during our lunch, there was a presentation by a woman who's a professor at the university, and she was talking about comprehensive plans. And she's going through and she's just like, comprehensive plans are really important, especially like you really need to have equity in them. And I'm like, oh man, you're talking to us, right? So I'm like, okay. At the end of her presentation, she said, we choose cities to work with and assist them with their comprehensive plan. So of course I shot my hand up and I'm like, what's the cost? She said, it's free. And I was like, okay, shot my hand up again. How do I apply? She said, just send me an email and then just kind of let me know like about your community. So I'll tell y'all the email that I sent, no shame. I was like, well, Maplewood is a community of 8,100 people. Our size is 1.5 square miles. But I'm like, but I am the first African-American person to be elected. We have a very progressive council, and we are focused on equity and inclusion and diversity. And honestly, like, we are the most progressive municipality in the region. I think that got us over because subtle, okay? Hey man, look, she said free, okay? And the last time we talked about that comprehensive plan was $150,000. So I was like, did she think we're Maplewood, Minnesota? No, I told him Z. Yeah. Funny story about Maplewood, New Jersey. But anyways, so they chose Maplewood, and they are going to provide us with a draft of a comprehensive plan for free. So I have saved us $150,000, and I'm very happy. Yeah, man. Yes. So right now we have already started talking with them, and them as in the students and the professor. Her name is Depreet Brown. So we've already started talking with them. Michael has already provided the students and the professor with like our community survey results that we got back and some other things. And so I just wanted to let you know, we'll talk about that more. And if you have any questions for that, let me know, because Councilman Rockingham had a question about like, when I told him about it, he was like, I have a question about the methodology of it. So I was like, okay, I can make sure that I have information for you on that. So again, any questions that we should ask them before we have this retreat, I'll be sure to get that to y'all. They should have a draft comprehensive plan for us by the end of August. So we're going to be cooking Crisco, but we'll talk about that more. I just wanted to kind of give y'all a lay of the land on that. So that's all that I have. So if you guys think of anything else, let me know. And then also a part of the budget for the retreat is for us to get council member shirts. It's coming, man. No, man, there are no team activities like that, my friend. You know what? Y'all calm down.
Discussion at all. I noticed Richmond Heights does whatever they're like, Saturday meeting up with this alderman or this alder person or council person or whatever, like coffee with a council person or something like that. Something like that where we're interacting outside of this area. Like I know that our police and public officials are doing that, and it looks really successful.
Thank you for
I think that
bringing
would be something to talk about.
So a few months ago, I actually brought that to council and was like, I'd like to talk to y'all about that. Thank you for bringing it up because I just forgot. But we can put that on our agenda so then we can really map out dates that we're going to have it. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm just gonna put it as coffee talks for now. The last time that we did it, we were calling them walk and talks. And we were walking around wards to talk to people. All right. It is too hot. It is too hot. Okay, so then we have the comprehensive plan in that. All right. Like I said, y'all, if you think of anything else, let me know. We'll add that to the agenda. But for now, we will plan to meet on, what was that, July 30th at 11 a.m. And I think we might be good with 3 hours. Is that too short?
You know, feed us.
You want me? Yeah, man. Okay, so 11 to 4, and we might get out of there early. All right, cool. And yes, we will be fed. All right, cool. Thank you. Yes. All right, Mr. Reese, item number 5.
Discuss tenant bill of rights and healthy rental homes / City of Maplewood property maintenance inspection program. Okay, so, let me just summarize this. So with Mayor Knapper bringing this, to our attention, she brought to our attention, my attention, a Kansas City tenant bill of rights. And, we used, the Kansas City tenant bill of rights resolution as a model, and we tailored it to the city of Maplewood. City Attorney Graves, Anthony Traxler, and I collectively worked on a tenant bill of rights resolution. You will see in the body of the resolution, the relevant city, state, and federal laws are cited. We think it's a good product that compiles tenants' rights in one place, and as an educational tool, and promotes access to safe and affordable housing. So that's kind of a quick summary on the tenant bill of rights. On the other effort, the Healthy Rental Homes Maplewood Property Maintenance Inspection Program. This is an effort that Anthony Traxler and Brian Herr, who's our building official and fire marshal, worked very hard on. Again, they use the Kansas City Healthy Rental Homes as a model that Mayor Knapper brought to our attention, and then reviewed and aligned existing city code, mainly chapter 12, which is our buildings and building regulations section, into this new format. And we see this document as really, again, a robust educational tool where tenants can go to one place for all the rules and regulations in the city that help protect them and provide for safe housing. Once it's finalized, there'll be a handout at City Hall, and we'll put it on the website. And so that's what we plan on doing that once it's finalized. This went before the Plan and Zoning Commission, and they had no comments. We're very open to any suggestions or comments that you may have here this evening. And that's really a summary of the two efforts.
Thank you. Mr. Traxler, I know you worked a lot.
Brian heard it as well.
Tell him, well, he's not here, but tell him I said thank you too, please. And thank you, Michael.
This looks really good. So there's nothing like new. This is all just a compilation of, okay, yeah. That should be super handy.
It was Kansas City one was being utilized, and we thought we had a lot of it in place already, and we weren't really sure. So it was a good exercise for staff, to be honest with you.
Well, that was gonna be my follow-up. Was there, when, as you were compiling, it was like, you know what, they had that, and that's really good, and it doesn't exist in code that we need to be thinking about?
We didn't really see anything earth shattering. I understand it's a lot of information for just a short weekend. I'm back in on the 9th again. So if something comes up from now until then, or any time in the future that you see that you would like staff and working with the city attorney's office to investigate amendments, additions, changes, we don't need to necessarily an answer now, but we were just so if you see something later that you'd like to add, maybe you see something at a conference or hear from another city, hey, they're doing this, or they're doing that, we can absolutely add or amend what we currently have. We just wanted to lay out to show you this is what we have on the books. And again, it's not, most people don't look at the building code, international building code. They don't look at the international residential code. They don't even understand we have a property maintenance code, which is in a separate attachment. So this is, again, it was a good exercise to do. And we do have a handout, which is much more minimal. So this will be good for our residents.
So we have the Healthy Rental Homes and the Tenant Bill of Rights is just pretty much extremely clear in one place that we have all of this stuff that folks can go to. Can you, Michael, have you thought about, I'm sorry, Mr. Reese, have you?
It works for me.
Okay, thank you. I apologize. Have you thought about putting it in another place that's kind of easily accessible for folks to go to, like someplace on our city website where you could just click a link and then it's there?
Well, Laura and I have talked a little bit about this. We haven't settled on where that is, but we have talked about making sure it's in an accessible place. But we wanted to have this discussion and make sure it's sort of in a final form, but we'll revisit that and figure out the best place and make sure it is accessible.
Yeah, there was
I'm sorry, go ahead, Councilmember.
so much information when I was reading through, and it was really, really helpful. And then my brain kind of got to analysis paralysis. So I was thinking like a quick reference guide where it's just like, hey, if I rent, does my building get inspected? When does my building get inspected? Just so that people who are very unfamiliar with how to read municipal code have a very approachable way to start. Because even there, I was looking at it like, so if it's once a year inspection and that happens in March, but I move in July and the place is a total dive, what are my recourses as a tenant? You know, I was starting to think through like, how would I know to approach that information?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We can definitely put something together, and then as part of that more comprehensive umbrella, we can put this more detailed sheet in there. One thing that is nice about our annual program is it does give tenants a familiarity with the inspectors, and they're much more likely to call if they have a landlord that's not living up to the expectation. So, but what you're saying is a good, because we do it annually, so you can move in 6 months in, and then you may have to wait 6 more months for that. We can definitely put something together on that.
Yeah, because I was thinking about, I've never rented in St. Louis, but when I rented in college and grad school in different cities, I lived in some places that like adult me goes, what was I thinking?
How can I word this? So with the low income housing or income based housing, how do the inspections work with that? Because a lot of those housing units have their own set of inspectors that come. So does Maplewood supersede their inspection, or do you let them handle the inspections?
No, they get inspected twice. That they get once through the HUD or whatever federal agency is doing those inspections, but we also do our inspections. Well, there's no coordination there is what it is. So we treat them just like we would anybody else.
And just a quick question on my end for the tenant bill of rights. Is that something that you intend on having on the August council agenda?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, it looks actually really good. Yeah, but a little cheat sheet would be nice too as well, you know, just a quick thing of information. So thank you for putting that together. It's awesome.
Okay, Mr. Reese, item number 6, please.
Bond prepayment presentation by Finance Director Lexi Miller. I will turn this over for Lexi for a brief presentation here.
I had older brothers. Hi. So tonight I was going to discuss bond prepayment. So if you all recall, at the last work session we had in June, there was discussion about our reserve, our debt service, our general obligation bond reserve fund balance, and that it's high or higher than what we actually need to have it at the minimum requirements by state. So we have that fund balance, and what's probably the most appropriate action is to pay down some of that, some of those bonds, so to prepay those bonds. Because the money in that fund balance can only be used to pay off those general obligation bonds. Can't be used for anything else because it was collected to pay those bonds, so it has to be used to pay those bonds. So we have two options. We have, we could do like a defeasance, which is basically like restructuring our debt. It would require us to go in with doing we would write off the debt. We would do an entire new amortization schedule. We would need to hire a bond attorney. We would have an underwriter. It would probably cost about $20,000 in fees, just kind of off the top of my head, maybe a little bit more, just kind of depends on what everybody charges, but at least $20,000 in fees. And that's one approach that you can take, and a lot of times that's the only approach you have, because there's only certain ways, at certain times and certain ways that you can prepay funds. We are actually fortunate because March 1st, 2024, we have a call date, which means that we can prepay those bonds 90 days prior. So by the end of this current calendar year, we can prepay those bonds. And we don't have to do a defeasance and hire a bond attorney and spend $20,000. All we have to do is a resolution by council stating that the council authorizes the city to pay up to a certain amount, prepay a certain amount of bond by the end of the current calendar year. I personally would recommend that we do that form of bond prepayment. It is much cheaper and it's much more efficient because we would be able to put together a resolution for the August meeting, so we'd be able to get it taken care of quite quickly. The only sort of cost we would have with that would possibly be if we either had Attorney Graves or a bond attorney just look at the resolution to make sure that there isn't anything that isn't correct in the wording of what we're saying we're going to do. So I would recommend doing that, and I would recommend actually saying, you know, the city recommended, or the city authorized, or the council authorizes the city to prepay general obligation bonds up to an amount of about, you know, maybe no more than $420,000. And we would set that amount based on where we want our debt service fund balance to be when we set our tax rates in the fall. So we don't know exactly what it would be, but we could figure that out before the August meeting, but an amount not to exceed. And then that is paid before the end of the calendar year. And then that's all we would need to do in order to be able to do that, and then we can pay that amount off. And I personally would not recommend us paying any more than $420,000. I think that would be the highest that we would want to pay at this time. Are there any questions?
No, sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Easy.
I appreciate the explanation. It was very easy to.
Oh, really? Good. Thank you.
So I'm not as smart as all these other people, so I will have a question. So with money particularly. So this, basically what this allows us to do is leave that tax rate where it is, because otherwise we'd have to lower it. Is that my memory of the context of this? Is it because the tax rate gets too, that balance gets too high and we have to do something with it? Is that the context?
It's that the balance, you have a balance in there, you have a required minimum balance by the state. Which is to be able to pay off 1 year's worth of your actual obligation. So you can have up to 1 year's worth of your obligation. We have more than 1 year's worth. This allows us, so we have an excess. What is the appropriate action is to use those funds to pay off those bonds. And so that's just the appropriate action that we should be taking at this point, because we need to pay off the bonds.
We're still collecting more than we need.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
On a yearly basis, right?
So we could do this again if, you know, assuming,
If we have another call date.
Right.
oh, it's because of the call date, right? Gotcha.
Why we are fortunate to do this without incurring all of those fees.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't be worth refinancing bonds right now because the market is not,
Right.
we have great rates. The last time we refinanced these, we saved a lot of money
Mhm.
doing it. So just paying them off faster is going to be the best way to go.
I'm down.
Yeah, I'll make that easy.
We'll see that resolution in August. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.